Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Silver Swanner channel. This is the 8th video in my US typeset series, and today we're crossing a big milestone with the typeset. With today's edition, we'll now have a coin on every page of the album. And moving forward, I'll try and add a coin to a different page every week. So, this week, we'll be adding a Morgan dollar to the dollar page. The Morgan dollar is named after its designer, George Morgan, and was minted from 1878 through 1904, and again in 1921, and potentially in 2021. The Morgan dollar features two very common themes. On its obverse is a depiction of Lady Liberty, and on the reverse is an eagle with its claws holding arrows and an olive branch. Now, one of the things that I really like about the Morgan dollar is simply its history. So, a little bit of history about silver dollars in general. You used to be able to bring your silver, your raw silver, to the treasury, and it probably had to be refined silver, to the treasury, and in return they would give you dollar coins with a little bit of a premium that they kept for actually doing the work of minting them. The problem with that is then the government couldn't control the monetary supply. So starting with the Morgan dollar, Congress passed several laws where they authorized the purchase of specific amounts of silver, and that silver would be turned into coinage. So there was a couple of laws that authorized the purchase of silver, and that's where the initial run of Morgan dollars that were produced between 1878 and 1904 came. When that authorization for the silver had been completely exhausted, the Morgan dollar then ceased production. Then in, I think it's 1918, there was another law passed in Congress that authorized the government to mint more silver coins. But it's interesting, in this mintage was really meant to prop up the silver mining industry. So what the law and the mint actually did was they took a whole bunch of silver coins that they had, mostly older Morgans probably, and melted them down and converted them into bullion, just basically silver bars. Those silver bars were then sold to, I believe, Great Britain, and an equal amount of silver was purchased from U.S. miners, and that silver was turned into what are today the 1921 Morgan dollars. And now finally, and most exciting, it's late March in 2021. At this time I'm filming this video, and last year, President Trump signed into law the act that was going to allow the U.S. Mint to produce 2021 Morgan dollars and peace dollars to commemorate the centennial anniversary of the ending of the Morgan production and the beginning of the peace production. So that's just something that's really exciting to me, that we're going to get new coins of these very iconic designs. Right now, the mint has been pretty close-lipped about what this coin program will entail. So we don't know the amount of coins that are going to be produced. We don't even know the fineness, if they're going to be 90% silver or if they're going to be 3/9 fine like the Silver Eagles. We don't know if they're going to have privy marks for the New Orleans Mint and Carson City Mints, which no longer exist. We don't know if there's going to be business strikes produced, if there's going to be proofs only, if there's going to be some wacky reverse proof, enhanced reverse proof. So there's a lot of exciting things to come. So I'll leave a couple links in the description where you can find more out about the history of the Morgan dollars. You can see the new designs, and please keep your ears and eyes out for this release. I think it's going to be a very hot release. I think there's a great chance to make money if you want to do that. I know I personally, I'm just going to try and buy as many as I can and put them right into the collection. I'm really excited to see these Morgan dollars. That being said, when I take you in, we're going to take a look at the Morgan dollar I purchased. We're going to take a look at a graded Morgan dollar to help us with our grading. We're going to look at a GSA hoard, which will explain what that means. And finally, we'll take a look at just what I consider a junk 1921 Morgan. That being said, as always, at the end of the video, I'll throw up a photo review of the progress so far in the album. And finally, I will share my running cost up to this point. So let me take you in and let's take a look. All right, welcome back everybody. We can see I have the red book out again. We're going to be using this again as a reference to determine what we think the grade of the raw Morgan that we're going to be adding to the typeset is today. I have this PCGS graded MS62. We're going to use this as a comparison against the Morgan that I purchased here to see if we can estimate its grade. You know, do we think it's AU, Mint State? We're not going to get into the particular grades beyond just AU or Mint State. We have a junk 1921 here, so you can see it's pretty well faded, but it was just interesting to point out that the 1921 mintages, like I mentioned in my introduction, because of the authorization to buy all that silver back, the mintages, I think as a series, and we'll look at that in the red book in just a minute, I think we're something like 100 million. So these 1921 Morgans are extremely common, but if you're just like to stack some silver that has a little bit more of a numismatic value, you can't go wrong with the 1921 Morgans in my opinion. And then finally, there is the GSA Morgans, and this was the Government Services Administration. They found a hoard in the 60s of Morgan dollars, and at the time they thought that a lot of the Morgans that we know today that aren't rare were more rare, and they found in Carson City that they had all of these Morgan dollars that were in just bank bags in a hoard. And these carry a nice premium on them, even though this is only a MS62, because it's still graded and it's slabbed. It has all the original government packaging on it still. These GSA hoard Morgans carry a very hefty premium. I really like these. I had to obviously get one for the collection. I just thought it was really interesting that in the 60s, what people thought were very rare coins turned out to not be so rare after all. And I believe most, if not all, of the GSA hoards were the Carson City mintages. So let me go ahead and put that aside. I'll put that back in its case in just a minute here. And let's read through the description here very briefly. We're just going to focus on about uncirculated or uncirculated. So AU is going to be slight trace of wear on the bust, shoulder, and hair left of forehead, and on eagle's breast and top edges of wings. MS60, so uncirculated grade, would be no trace of wear, full mint luster present, may be noticeably marred by scuff marks or bag abrasions. So if we take a look at this, I would say here that the hair left of the forehead here, that looks pretty well defined to me. They say if we look at the reverse now, the feathers here I think are pretty visible. The top of the feathers certainly seem to be visible. So I strongly feel that this is probably uncirculated. I would say for just a comparison cost sake, we'll look at what the AU would be in just a moment when we go and look at the pricing. I do think that the graded 62 has a little bit finer luster, but it has a lot more chatter on it. So what I mean by chatter, again, are those bag abrasions or scuff marks that they mentioned. There's a lot more in the fields, it seems like, here. Although this graded coin has noticeably better luster in my opinion than mine. So that might knock me down maybe to just MS60 on this coin. So if we look at the mintage, again, that's an 1897 Philadelphia. So here for 1897 Philadelphias, we see that their mintage was 2.8 million, and between AU and MS, $39 to $50, which is right in the middle of what I paid. I think I paid about $44. I'll throw that up at the end. So I feel like I got a fair deal here, all things considered. So that being said, let's go ahead and add this to the typeset. And like I said in my introduction, I am very, very excited because today's edition means we now have coins on every page. So let's flip over to the dollar page here. Let me break this out of its flip. And I gotta remember which side of there is the opening. All right, and slide her open here. And there we go. And that is our 1897 Philadelphia added to the typeset here. So very happy with that. So as I said in my introduction, let me take you through a quick overview of the typeset. Let me throw my running cost up here. And finally, I'll leave a link to this as well. Don't forget that I am doing a giveaway for 250 subscribers. I'll throw a little card up for that. So if you haven't gone ahead and left a comment on the comment video, please do that. Here is the updated album screenshots. Next week, we will be going to the modern page, and I have something very exciting in store for that, so you'll want to stay tuned. Then here are my running costs. I found that I was essentially doubling my costs. I had an Excel formula error, so that's why my costs have actually gone down here. My cost for the Morgan was $42.44, purchased from eBay with free shipping. So that brings my total cost for the coins to $433.44 with $12.95 shipping, for a grand total of $446.39.